in life, we have virtues and we have vices. So a virtue is something that's internationally respected. Everybody sees a specific behavior and immediately it garners respect. Whereas a vice is it's a behavior that when people see it, intrinsically they know, ugh, this is off. This should not be respected. So think about it like this. It's kind of like when you go to the movies and you watch like heroic movies. Why are heroic movies so inspirational? They're so inspirational because you see a character, you see the hero display many virtuous behaviors, right? So what's a virtue? Courage, strength, self belief, perseverance. All these things are virtues. And when people see these specific behaviors being displayed, it garners respect immediately. A part of you is like, inspired, and you think, man, I want to conjure up some of these virtues within myself because I know if I do this, it'll better my situation. Whereas vices are things like, which make a really good story. Vices are disloyalty, weakness, cowardice, right? Betrayal. All these things make a great movie. But these are the displays, these are the behaviors that when you see them, you think, that shouldn't be respected. These are the things that I want to display less of in my own life. And one of the most important virtues that you can ever develop within yourself, in my opinion, is courage. I think courage is the most important virtue, simply because courage is the key that unlocks different aspects, different doors, and different possibilities. A lot of the time, you don't have the things that you want simply because you are not courageous. You're too fearful. You're not going all into the things that you want. Now, you got to first of all break down what specifically is courage. So courage is basically acting even when your feelings are not in line with the behavior that you want to display. It's only courage when your feelings are opposed to doing the thing that you want to do. So it's only, for example, let's say there's a bully and you're feeling afraid of stepping up to the bully and standing up for yourself. It's only courage if, despite those feelings of fear, you step up and you do something. Despite the feelings of insecurity, you go out and you try. That's courage. And in doing so, you first of all develop yourself as a person, you expand your own capacity, and it garners respect in others. It does. But one of the things that is holding many people back is that you lack courage, putting yourself out there enough. And when we're talking about courage, well, there's one specific aspect of courage that I really want to target, and it's in this. It's in you, first of all, saying no to yourself, not giving yourself permission to go for the things that you want. So what exactly does this mean? I'm going to share a story with you. So one of the first jobs I ever did was I used to actually sell Avon. So those of you guys who know what Avon is, Avons are basically creams and lotions, right? I used to sell little lotions and creams to like middle-aged women. So I remember because I was like 13, 14 at the time, I was like a minor, so my mom had to come around with me. So I'd go around to all these different neighborhoods and I'd be knocking on people's doors and I'd be like, listen, I've got this catalog of creams and lotions that I want to sell. You know what I mean? Are you interested in any? And I'll give them a little leaflet thing, a little flyer thing. They'll fill out the order that they want. And then I'll come back later on and I'll take their orders. I'll deliver their goods to them and then they'll pay me for it, basically. So what I used to do is like, because I used to go around to many different neighborhoods. So there's some really, really rough neighborhoods. Like, you have like wild dogs busy barking. Rah, rah, rah. You'd have like cars with like wheels missing in the garden. I was just like, like overgrown grass. Some of these areas look rough, like broken windows. I was thinking, I shouldn't be going here. And I remember there's certain houses that I'll try avoid. And I remember my mum said one thing to me, which has always stuck with me. And she said this. She'll say, why didn't you knock on that door? And I'll be like, well, they look kind of rough. And she was like, don't say no on the behalf of other people. Let people say no for themselves. It's really deep what I've just said. Don't say no for other people. Let people say no for themselves. Let people say no to you. Go out there. So I'll go and I'll knock on these doors, on some of these houses that I think, man, these people are crazy. And to my surprise, some of the people that I thought wouldn't buy from me were the people who bought the most from me, right? Just by me going out there and pitching and asking. In asking, I gave people the ability or the opportunity to either say no to me or, to say yes. Of course, you have some people who just air you, like, they'll see you coming and then, they'll just suddenly turn off the lights. Like, bro, I know you're home. You know what I mean? Open up the door. But there were people who would buy and they'll buy in bulk. But I would have missed out on all that simply if I didn't display courage in that moment, simply because I didn't go and ask. You have to go out there and ask. You have to go on there and try. Put yourself out there. And you may be surprised. But the thing is, many of us say no to ourselves. So, for example, there's a girl that you like. You want to go ask her out. But you're like, nah, she won't like somebody like me. You've said no on her behalf. You've said no to yourself. Right? There's a business that you want to put out there. There's a product you want to sell. But nobody would ever buy that product. It's stupid. You've just said no to yourself. You've just said no to yourself, right? You're not being courageous in that moment in time. You're acting cowardly. You're not even trying. And that's a shameful thing, because trying and failing is not a shameful thing. There's nothing shameful about failing. What is shameful is having something that you want to do and not doing your best, not doing everything in your power to make or to achieve the thing that you want. That is shameful, and you should be shamed for that. You should be. There's nothing shameful about trying and failing. Trying and failing, you win. Either way, you win. Because if you try and you fail, what happens is, of course, you gain new experiences. Your capacity expands as a human being, and you learn something. And these skills that you learn, these things that you learn, are transferable into other things. So even if you go for your vision, you go for your dream, there's a possibility that it may not happen. There's a possibility it may not come to fruition. But you learn something. You develop as a human being, and these skills that you learn may be transferable into something else that may make you successful. But it only comes from trying. It only comes from putting yourself out there and choosing to act courageously. So it's only ever courage when your feelings are opposed to doing the thing that you want to do. So whenever you feel that, you want to lean in and do the thing anyway. So you want to first of all ask yourself, what aspects of my life am I saying no on other people's behalf? Let people say no for themselves.